Hey everybody, what is up? It is me, Berlin. How are you doing? I've been gone for ages, so I owe you guys a big fat apology because I just haven't been around on YouTube or social media much at all, really. Done a couple of TikToks here and there, but like that's it. I haven't been about at all. I've been working and stuff, and also just I got really like down and wanted to sort of be a recluse, honestly, because of the state of the world. It's all been really heavy. There's so much going on in Gaza, in America. Feels like World War III is about to break out. You know, it's insane, the amount of stuff going on, and I want to talk about some of it in this video. I'm not, you know, the most amazing person at talking about politics, but there are things that I want to address in this video. There's things that I've seen in other people's videos as well that I want to touch on as well. So let's get into it. Obviously, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the ICE raids, because baby, if you don't know me, it's F-ICE. That's how I feel about them. I do not in any way, shape or form support masked men kidnapping people off the streets and taking them into vans never to be seen again. No, I don't support that at all. You know, I think if you can look at that and not have empathy for the people that that's happening to, I think you don't have a heart. I think you don't know how to empathize with other humans. You don't know what humanity is if you can watch that going on and think it's okay or not comment at all. You know, how can anybody watch that and think it's okay and just not care? Apparently some people can. Jeffree Star. I'm going to share some of the coverage that I saw of it from somebody who's on YouTube called Jen Luv. She is an excellent YouTuber. She's somebody who I followed primarily for like makeup tea and gossip, because, you know, I love makeup and I was into all of the, you know, YouTube beauty gurus back in the day and everything. So Jen Luv was somebody I started following on YouTube because of that whole time, you know, from 2016 onwards, like that kind of time period where the beauty gurus were really, really big on YouTube and everyone was tuning into their videos every week, you know, millions of views, all of that. Jen Luv was somebody who was bringing us news and gossip, all to do with like makeup brands and the industry, and she still does that now. And her coverage of what's going on with the ICE raids I thought was really, really brilliant. So I'm going to include a clip of her video in here. I'll link her channel down below as well, because I really enjoy a lot of Jen Luv's content. And if you're anything like me, if you like the whole kind of beauty world, you know, then you will probably like her content too.
The mass deportations without due process, meaning that they're not given any way of saying, you know, why they should be here in the US. They're not given any kind of trial, any kind of lawyer. They're just being rounded up and deported. And one of the people that was deported pretty early in this process was a man named Andre Jose Hernandez Romero, and he is a makeup artist from Venezuela. The reason why he was deported was because the people who made that decision incorrectly identified tattoos on his arms as being an identifier of him being in a Venezuelan gang. To be clear, this was their only evidence that he was in this gang, was because of these tattoos. I'm going to show them to you. They are crowns. According to an article in the New York Post that was published in late 2024, there are quite a few tattoos that they were saying law enforcement are looking out for in order to find gang members from other countries. The crown is one of them. Other ones included clocks, trains, stars, gas masks, guns, and grenades. All of these could be symbols that you are part of a gang in another country. If you know anything about tattoos, my husband is a tattoo artist, you know that these are, a lot of them, relatively common tattoos, especially when you're talking about guns and stars. I don't know how many gun and star tattoos that I've seen. But the one that shocked me the most was this one. This is the Michael Jordan logo, and they say this is especially a gang-related symbol when the number 23 is below it. According to the right-leaning news source, this is what it says, I quote, "In the Jordan logo, the number refers to 23 de Enero, or 23rd of January, a Venezuelan neighborhood that spawned a revolutionary group in the 1980s. Or it could be just Michael Jordan's number, just saying that was Michael Jordan's jersey number. So what about Andree's specific tattoos? Yes, the crown in Venezuela can be a symbol of being in this gang. However, you have to also take into account, and this is where due process would have been important, that Andree could have explained that he is in the pageant industry. He works in pageants, and in pageants, they give people crowns. Andree also was photographed wearing crowns. Crowns were just kind of his thing. Also, if you look at the tattoos, there's the crown, but underneath the crowns are the words mom and dad. I've seen crown tattoos everywhere over any kind of thing that anybody may want to show a sign of respect for. Someone else was deported for a crown over a soccer ball. The person happened to be a soccer player. My point is that our government used just this one point of evidence to say that he was in a gang. It doesn't even appear that they looked into why he was here. Andree crossed the border into the United States legally, claiming asylum. According to his lawyer, he walked 60 miles of roadless stretch in dense forest between Colombia and Panama to Mexico, where he eventually got an appointment to seek asylum. He got to the border. He followed all of the right ways to seek asylum. And when he got here, in his interview, government officials had found that threats against him were credible and that he had a real probability of winning an asylum claim. He did everything the right way. So you may be asking yourself, well, what was he seeking asylum from? Why was he so afraid? He was afraid of being an openly gay makeup artist in Venezuela. It was not a safe place for him. So where is he going to go? He's going to come to the United States, where he felt like he would be safer and more protected and also have opportunity to grow as a makeup artist. When Andree was arrested, he was still going through the legal process of asylum. Again, he was doing it the right way. He has no criminal record here in the U.S. There was no evidence presented that he was any threat to anyone in the United States, yet he was deported to this El Salvadorian prison back in March. And what is absolutely horrible and terrifying beyond that is that no one has heard from him since. His family has not heard from him. Lawmakers have requested a proof of life, like just prove to us that he's still alive, that he's still okay. Our Secretary of Homeland Security, her name is Kristi Noem, refused in a direct question to confirm Andree's status.
You and the president have the ability to check if Andree is alive and if not being harmed. Would you commit at least into looking and asking El Salvador if he is alive?
This is a question that's best asked to the president and the government of El Salvador.
And I think you know very well that you could ask that question. What you are choosing to do, Madam Secretary, is disregard this young man's life, this young man's family, who was given an appointment by the United States. I think it is shameful that you won't even request to see if this young man is alive. His family has no idea, has no access to lawyers. I would hope that we would have the humanity to just check if this young man is okay. With that, I yield back. It's shameful.
But if you have watched U.S. news lately, you know that this is going way beyond just Andree's story and the stories that were made public back in March. On the campaign trail, our current president promised mass deportations, and he is following through on that.
We will begin removing the more than 2 million criminal illegal immigrants from the country.
Deport all criminal aliens and dismantle every last criminal gang and cartel.
And then in the drag world as well, I've seen people like Bridget Bandit speaking up, and she was even performing on the steps of the Capitol on the No Kings protest day. She was up there going to Rage Against the Machine, and I was like, yes! And she did it in these really high heels too. Amazing. My hero. Like, Oh my god, I could not believe that she did that with those white spike heels on that she had on. I was like, yes! Then you also have people like Sister Roma out marching in San Francisco.
San Francisco has turned out. We are activated. There are hundreds of thousands of people here. I have never seen this many people for a protest or a march or a rally in my entire life. It's beautiful. It's encouraging. It's why I live here. We believe in democracy. We believe in the separation of church and state. We believe in due process. We believe in the three branches of government. And we will not be silent. No kings. Never. Not in America.
You had Kimchi from Kimchi Chic Beauty and Drag Race also speak up. You've had a lot of like brands like Trixie Cosmetics also putting out statements on their Instagram. You've had influencers like Manny MUA also talk about it, and of course Manny MUA is from Mexican heritage, so you know it's nice that influencers have actually spoken up, as well as people from the drag world, because usually, you know, influencers tend to stay silent about political things and don't really get involved. But it's been really good to see a lot of influencers actually stepping up to the plate and actually, you know, addressing the ICE raids, because it matters. If only they could also, some of them, address Palestine and Gaza. I think we might be waiting a long time for that.
This video is very difficult to make, but the situation is really dire. Apologize in advance if I stutter because I'm really upset. But if this video is reaching you, chances are you probably have an idea what's happening to Los Angeles right now. And just because you don't live in Los Angeles, don't feel like you should relax and feel safe, because your city's probably going to be next. People are being snatched off the streets, at their court hearing, at their kids' graduations, at their church. The government, who is supposed to be for the people, in supposedly land of the free, is doing this to the people. The Latino communities are some of the hardest working and kindest people I know, and no one deserves this. They're treating them like they're livestock and not even human beings, calling them illegal aliens to dehumanize them, and no one deserves this fate. Abolish ICE. Fuck the corrupt politicians who's doing this. I feel so helpless right now, but we need to be aware and fight together, because this is not okay.
Do not let your privilege cloud your empathy. Just because it's not your struggle does not mean people do not struggle with it. What's happening right now in Los Angeles and all across the country with these ICE raids is absolutely horrific. And if you cannot empathize with families being ripped apart, I truly don't know what to tell you. You need to have a long look in that mirror and figure out why the fuck you're a robot. What's really pissing me off are my DMs of people telling me, we just want you guys to come in legally. You know how fucking ignorant and privileged you sound? It's not so simple for everyone, and it takes years, and it takes a lot of money. So for you to be like, just come over legally, not everyone has that privilege, and not everyone's lucky enough to do that. And let me tell you something else really quickly. Mexicans, let me be so fucking free with you, a lot of them, they don't even want to be here. They would rather be with their families. Mexicans that come over here to work and send money back home to their family, do you really think that they want to leave their entire lives behind, all their family behind, to come over here to work and send money over? If they didn't have to, they would not leave their entire life behind if they didn't have to do it. They know that coming over here and making more money is going to benefit their family back in Mexico, and that's why they do it. They leave their entire family behind and they work here night and day. They're not coming over here just to be freeloaders. They're some of the hardest working people in the entire world, and I'm so proud and so privileged and so lucky that I myself am Mexican and I've grown up in a Mexican household, and I love being Mexican. And if you're the kind of bitch who sees these families being ripped apart and have no empathy for that, unfollow me. And I'm being so fucking for real right now because you make me sick. Dead ass. So I stand with Mexicans and every other immigrant in this country, point blank period. And guess what? California was Mexico's first. So how are you gonna be immigrants on stolen land? Yeah, that's what I thought.
So this is where I am with that. While it's great to see influencers speaking up, for something like the ice raids. As I said, I would also kind of like it if they spoke up about Palestine or gave the same energy to the millions of people being killed in Gaza. You know, like, I think if you're going to speak up about the one thing and you don't care about Palestinian lives, you know, you'll speak about the thing that's happening in your country because that might affect you, but you don't want to speak about the thing that's happening in Gaza because that's in another country and those are brown people. You know, it comes off a little bit kind of racist, in my opinion, if you're going to talk about one but not the other. I don't know. Now, I know that everybody has got work and lives and we can't all be like on social media being activists 24/7. You know, I've got a job too. It's like, I know we're busy, but what's been going on in Gaza has been going on for how long now? What, 2 years? You've had all this time, some people, and some people just haven't said anything or posted anything. No links to donations or anything. You know, some people who are famous, you know, have done nothing. And it's like, okay, well, you will pop up on Pride Month. You will pop up on Pride Month. You want to be part of Pride events. You know, if you're part of the LGBTQ, you know, you pop up, you want trans rights, you want to be part of events, you want to be part of prides. Sorry, I think my phone is going wonky here. There we go. Sorry, I was on the wonk there, I just noticed that. Yeah, but like, you want to be part of prides, you want to be on brands' PR lists for their pride drops, you know, all of this stuff. But you don't want to speak up for the queer people in Gaza. You know, it's giving that for me, you know. What about the queer people there? What about the queer Palestinians who are going through what they're going through? How can we say, you know, we want to be seen, we want equality, when they're going through that and you're not prepared to speak up for them? You want other people to speak up for you and your rights, but you don't want to speak up for them. See what I mean? It's kind of, that's what it's giving, and it ain't cute. And I'm going to end this video with something a little bit funny here. Jeffree Star recently came out with some eyebrow products, and Alexis Stone decided to shade Jeffree, calling Jeffree unoriginal, saying that Alexis came out with the same product 5 years ago when Alexis had the brand Sensorium Beauty. So Jeffree's ones are called Shapeshifters, his brow products. These little like brow gel mascaras that you put through your brows to make it look as though you've got bleached eyebrows. Yes, Alexis Stone did call it out on Instagram, and Alexis Stone did come out with the same products 5 years ago when Alexis had Sensorium Beauty. That was a brand that was very short-lived. It was like an eyeshadow palette, a highlighter, but the first product that they launched was this one. It was the Brow Engineer. Yes, I've got some. This is a platinum like bleach brow effect product. Same thing as what Jeffree Star is putting out now. Exactly same, like brow gel that bleaches your brows, that you wash off at the end of the day. Same kind of product, you know. Yeah, I know makeup brands release similar products all the time, but, you know, it was just funny that Alexis Stone decided to call Jeffree out on it because, you know, yeah, Jeffree is getting very boring and unoriginal, and why shouldn't we call him out?
Introducing the Brow Shapeshifter! Star family, this is an extreme pigment paint for your eyebrows, okay? Get ready for it. If you want bleached blonde eyebrows without the bleach and all the mess, you can have blonde eyebrows in 1 second. Now, I mimicked this platinum shade off of the platinum hair that I've had for a couple of years now.
Speaking of boring and unoriginal, I'm also going to mention James Charles because he just came out with his own rainbow palette under his Painted brand. Girl, did we really need another rainbow palette on Pride Month? Wow, groundbreaking. You know, very that. Like, did we really need another rainbow palette on the market that looks like all the other rainbow palettes out there? No, we didn't. Like, who's going to buy that? It's going to be the 12-year-olds that beg their parents for their credit cards or beg their parents for pocket money. But, like, have 12-year-olds really got, like, $50 to spend on a palette? In this economy? $50 for an eye palette? I don't think so. James Charles. I think that's boring and unoriginal. And I also think you were sexting minors as well. And I don't think anyone should buy your products because of that. Thank you very much. Yeah, so James Charles, unoriginal, coming out with a rainbow palette, and it looks like all the other rainbow palettes out there, so I can't think of a single reason why anyone would want to buy it. But you know, Jesus knows the 12-year-olds will, and he will still continue to thrive because that's just how it works, you know. Influencers who do bad things and say bad things, like James Charles, get away with it, and they thrive with their 24 million followers. Anyway guys, I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you on the next one. Mwah! Bye bye.